Hello everyone and welcome to this edition of the Primetime Newscast in the English language on Canal International. We begin with our top stories. The aftermath of the adoption and subsequent release of the divisional officer for Bamenda 2 subdivision, conflicting narratives emerge while the Northwest governor asserts Nicholas Kongo's freedom resulted from military intervention. A concise second 9-second video from the victim paints a contrary picture. Support staff of the University of Marwa have gone on strike for over 6 months of unpaid salaries, lack of affiliation to the social insurance funds, and other problems. Plus, the high cost of living in Cameroon is suffocating Cameroonians as they face with rising costs of almost all basic commodities. The recent fall increase has further worsened the situation of transport fare fast becoming unbearable. And we are just 3 days left for the National Youth Day celebration in Cameroon. We focus on parents' disagreements over financing extracurricular activities of students. Those are major stories. Details right ahead. Good evening once more. Dust is yet to settle on the abduction and subsequent release of the divisional officer for Bamenda 2 subdivision in the Northwest region of Cameroon. According to Northwest Governor, Nicholas Kongo was set free by military intervention, but a 9-second video contradicts that. More with our Northwest correspondent, Annie Collins. Annie.
Through social media, the public has been reacting to the recent kidnap and sudden return to freedom of the divisional officer for Bamenda 2. A good number expressed happiness that Nicholas Kongo Machang is after everything free, but how he came out of the bondage is what now animates the polemic that has grown from the incident. Addressing the issue at the Nkambe ceremonial ground on Wednesday, Governor Adolphe Lafrique says the administrator was freed by defense forces upon high instructions from the head of state.
We were informed of the abduction of division officer of Bamenda 2 in Mezang Division and other immediate collaborators who are in their way to come and witness the commissioning of the incoming SG of Government 2. They were ambushed by terrorists. Aware of this, in order to set free the hostages.
From a video recording in a cubicle that looks like a rural health center, the victim says he dashed out and embarked before seeing the light of freedom.
Yes, so it was God's grace that I managed to escape.
Indeed.
In the night. So I've trekked for 10 hours.
Even if this polemic were to die down, the whereabouts and the fate of the over 5 persons with whom the administrator was taken captive is what will reignite debate on various social media platforms. Nicholas Kongo's appearance in Kambe for the installation of the new senior divisional officer of Ndonga Mantung was supposed to be nostalgic for him, as this is where he made his first steps in administration as a second assistant SDO for this division some years back. He is the second divisional officer since the beginning of the current security crisis rocking the Northwest region, the first being Namata Diteng Joseph of Batibo, who has not been seen till date. Coincidentally, both incidents happened in February 2018 and now 2024.
The suspected killers of a 32-year-old Rosine Mengo has been apprehended by the police in the nation's political capital, Yaoundé, after stabbing a lady to death 3 months ago. He disappeared into hiding before he was fished out again by elements of forces of law and order. He was presented to the public this Thursday at the Central Regional Police Division. More on the story with our reporter, Aisin Cha.
It was an appointment for a love affair, but little did Rosine Megoteza know that life was to be brutally squeezed out from her that fateful night.
During his hearing, he confirmed that he invited the victim in an drinking establishment based on Esumba district, where they tried to share a bottle of beer. Later on, he tried to lead the victim to an inn at around 10 p.m. in the night. Unfortunately, the victim opposed. Then, using the dagger that he kept on him, he tried to lead the victim into darkness, where he raped the victim and stabbed her several times.
After killing the 32-year-old lady on October 15, 2023, the assassin tried playing smart to avoid being suspected.
Once dead, he then looked for a motorbike driver to whom he tried to pretend to be a good Samaritan who tried to help the young lady who had been victim of the attack, and then tell the driver to take them to Nkwabang, where he dropped the victim close to the health center. He then went to the police station when he tried to present himself like an honest citizen who wanted to help. Then later he scampered off in the nature.
With a complaint filed by the family of the victim at the Central Regional Police Division, the police elements under the coordination of the head of the unit, Moise Emane, launched an intensive search to fish out the presumed culprit. And presenting him to the public this February 8, the forces of law and order cautioned the ladies on extra vigilance and the need to quickly report suspected individuals to nearest police units.
18 is the total number of victims burnt after a gas leakage in a kitchen at a training institute in Douala. Amongst the 18, 5 are in a disturbing health condition. The incident happened Wednesday afternoon at the Dogbong neighborhood in Cameroon's economic hub. Littoral governor was at the site at the incident to take stock of the situation. More in the following story. An imperceptible gas leak, spark of fire, and 18 persons trapped on the spot in this building, which serves as a catering training center in Dogbong, Douala. The victims of fire incidents sustained different degrees of burns.
Ça a permis de mobiliser une cinquantaine de soignants, dont des médecins, des anesthésistes et réanimateurs, des urgentistes, le personnel paramédical.
Littoral governor and his entire collaborators were jettisoned to the hospital where victims were battling with their lives.
Statistics are 18 people that are wounded, 5 in the, let me say, 50% burns, 9 that are ready to go back home, and the other one that are under control.
Medics say some of the victims are in a disturbing health condition. While comforting the victims, Littoral Governor equally reassured families on the future of their children.
Till now, we don't have any human loss.
Among the 18 victims, 9 have responded to treatment and have been discharged. Marua University support staff have gone on strike over unpaid salaries, lack of affiliation with the National Social Insurance Fund, and a lot more. They intend to press on with governments until their demands have yield solutions. More in the following story.
This Wednesday, February 7th, the support staff came to the rector's office venting their frustration over 6 months of salary arrears, the non-subscription to the social insurance schemes, and the absence of a compliance treatment.
There
are some of our documents we send, and it makes 5 to 6 years without no answer. I take, for example, the 2014 decree that got effective in 2001, and that of 2023 that has not yet been effective. And recently, the Prime Minister have signed another decree when it will be active. Our worry is that they should not only sign but see to its effectiveness. They believe that the strike is a means to make their voices heard and for the authorities to see into the matter.
Le message à l'endroit des autorités, c'est celui de l'écoute.
The right of the authority is for them to listen to us. We are not striking because we want war. We are just trying to pass out communication on what we feel. We really want them to hear our suffering. Negotiations were held between the striking support staff and the vice rector, plus several members of the administration. However, the negotiation was a fiasco as the support staff rejected the proposed solution and expressed their indignation.
And that was a report by a student journalist on internship, Christy IRA. Now, the high cost of living in Cameroon is gradually suffocating Cameroonians as they are faced with rising costs of almost all basic commodity in markets. The recent fuel price increase has further worsened the situation as transport fare is becoming unbearable. Experts say this stressful condition provoked a low self-esteem in family heads, hopelessness and despair, but advise streamlining on needs could lessen the burden of affected persons. More on the story with our reporter, Gladys Ambo-Diba.
The rising cost of basic commodities and other valuables pose a permanent stress to the local population, a majority of whom live below the poverty line in Cameroon. This exacerbated by the recent fuel price adjustments.
I'm struggling, always thinking of what the next day will look like, especially how to pay transport to work, house rents, and this sometimes provoke me to talk alone on the street. Life has become more difficult. We are discouraged. People don't have money. And with the inflationary situation, people live in constant pressure trying to resolve family problems and other things. It's really complicated.
The 7% inflation rate in Cameroon, which surpasses the CEMAC threshold of 3%, is undoubtedly traumatic for many. The psychological impact of such economic challenges can be severe, potentially leading to a loss of purpose among those affected.
Ça va entraîner de la souffrance, de l'insomnie.
It will provoke suffering, insomnia, and to an extent hopelessness and depression. Some will develop complex, believing they are worthless as family heads.
Psychiatrists emphasize this feeling of dejection negatively impacts their output at work and might affect the economy as a whole. Learning to streamline needs can help individuals cope better with financial stress and contribute positively to their work and the economy.
À la maison et se dire qu'est-ce qui est urgent.
The idea will be to prioritize needs such as feeding and education for the children, and that is more important. Living in an expensive home is not important in such conditions. Parents should also take the pains to explain to their children their current situation so that everyone can bear the stressful times.
Tout le monde se serre la ceinture.
This holistic approach can lead to more resilient communities in the face of economic adversity to preempt stress-provoking conditions such as cardiovascular diseases and mental health disorders.
And we're just 3 days to National Youth Day celebration in Cameroon, and we focus on nursery school kids in the Funde division that have, through songs, dances, sketches, and others, convey strong messages, promote moral, cultural, and civic values. This was during a mini gala feast organized by these kids who most are not part of 11 February March Past. More on that story with our reporter, Beatrice Ngamo.
Mini gala feast for kids aged over 3 to 5 years from nursery schools in the Funde division, who most often are not part of the grand 11 February March Past. English, French, like the mother tongue, their sharp brain capture fast, young and very talented. Their know-how in moral, civic, cultural values, what they present to parents, teachers, and guests.
can't say they are those États-Unis. Florence, la France est aux États-Unis.
In nursery school, they can well express themselves on what they've learned. The teacher could not miss the opportunity to tell their story through the kids. Results of the wonderful sacrifice and efforts of nursery school teachers with patience and tolerance like these kids. Laudable presentation that left all touched by how far these little ones can go.
I'm very impressed by what I've seen. This activity, we have the message toward the educational community. So it's a good work doing by our teachers, and we want to congratulate this good work.
Sign of a solid background that can carry them perfectly well into primary education and further.
And as schools strive to provide solid educational experiences, the question on who should bear financial responsibility for extracurricular activities has become a topic of discussion between parents and teachers. Some parents see it very essential since it is for the goods of their children, while others think it is extra burden, financial burden to them. More with our student journalist on internship, Kiga.
Entertaining the elderly gives rhythm to their lives, source of joy. The taste and sounds of the youths fast and loud, moving their heads and hands as they enjoy the show.
Sport teams, music and performing arts, academic clubs, journalism and media clubs, cultural and diversity clubs, and so many others are some extracurricular activities in a school milieu. The question on who should finance these extracurricular activities has been animating debate in many households and schools. Some parents appreciate a wide range of these activities offered by schools, acknowledging their role in fostering personal growth and teamwork in their children. As a parent, I look forth to the happiness and success of my child. Sometimes we have no choice as parents. They give us a condition, and since we parents want the success of our children, schools will always ask for money. There is always financial instability in schools. Most of the times, they ask for 500 francs, 1,000 francs. As a parent, we have no choice. We are obliged to contribute. In some schools, parents and teachers have been discussing on that question in order to come to a conclusion together. Every school has its internal rules and regulations. Generally here in my institution, we call for a meeting with parents when it comes to these activities so that we can get a final decision together. When it comes to different contributions, for example, before children go for first-term holidays, there is Christmas feast. We assemble the parents to see how much we can contribute. So it depends on what we decide together.
Donc ceci dépend de ce que nous sommes convenus ensemble.
By exploring external sponsorship and engaging in an open communication, schools can ensure that all pupils and students have access to these experiences, regardless of their financial circumstances.
And Cameroonian youths have been urged to do what's expected of them to, so they are supposed to be a call by some senior citizens as part of activities to mark this year's National Youth Day celebration, an initiative by the Living Alternative for the aging to bring back the Cameroonian youth to the drawing board for a better future. More with Beatrice Ngamu.
Entertaining the elderly gives rhythm to their lives, source of joy. The taste and sounds of the youths fast and loud, moving their heads and hands as they enjoy the show. The elderly showtime also. Secret moments of togetherness between two generations, the senior citizens and their grandchildren.
If I am where I am, because I am who I am, and that's what each and every one of you should be, to try to be who you are, who you want to be. But to be who you're supposed to be, you must be determined to do what you're supposed to do.
This goes with good attitude.
Character and attitude are principal things.
It's bring back the traditions and culture.
In order to succeed.
I enjoyed the day, like when our elders spoke to us, I really appreciated it, and especially when Tizi Pancha came, it was just like a dream for me.
The old and new still bond.
Older people have experience, have hard-earned wisdom, but younger people have new ideas, have energy, and can offer that new perspective that will benefit the country in the future.
And laughter is a platform that encourages intergenerational activities. It is very important that these two people meet and have exchanges with mutual benefits.
Advice and lessons digested with Tizi Panchak.
And that report brings us to the end of this edition of the Prime Time Newscast on Canal International in the English language. Take another rendezvous, same time tomorrow. Good night.